Hello dear students, so now today we would move ahead in this first chapter of class 11th chemistry, that is some basic concepts of chemistry. So previously we have discussed about the laws of chemical combination. 5 laws we have already discussed. So now today we are going to discuss the Dalton's atomic theory. Okay, so what is this theory that we would discuss, but before this let me tell you, uh, means he was the first man who just proposed a theory, that is the atomic theory. Before this, Maharshi Kannad also just described about the Chhadma Padarth, and he told that the Chhadma Padarth are all made up of the Paramanu. Okay, now we call them as atoms, but this was only discussed there in the scriptures, etc. Okay, but if you see the theory that was proposed by the Dalton here. Okay, so Dalton was the first man to propose this atomic theory. Now if I just tell you what is the atom, so atom is just means the smallest particle that is uncut, or means that you cannot cut further. Let's say this is the marker, you keep cutting the marker into the pieces, again and again. So ultimately you would be getting a smallest particle that you cannot cut further. So that smallest particle would be known as the atom, isn't it? So it's the smallest uncut particle. Okay, so now we would discuss the postulates of the Dalton. Okay, so what are the postulates of the Dalton that the Dalton proposed? So the first one was metal consists of small indestructible particles called atom. Means all the metal are there, whether you call it iron, gold, etc. So all consist small indestructible, means which you cannot cut further. Indestructible means, just now I have told you, atoms are the smallest particle that you cannot cut further. So just the first postulate is what? Metal consists of small indestructible particles that means you can call them as atoms. Okay, indestructible means you cannot cut them further. Okay, second postulate is atoms of same elements are same. It's okay, like if you have small piece of gold and the big one piece of gold, both would be having the same kind of atoms, isn't it? That is why both are alike, isn't it? Both are alike. Small gold piece you take, whether you take the big one, so both would be alike, isn't it? So that is why, because they have the same kind of atoms. Okay, third postulate is atoms of different elements are different. Yes, iron would be different from the gold, because the atoms of iron are different from the gold, isn't it? Next postulate is atom is the smallest unit that can take part in a chemical reaction. Suppose a chemical reaction is taking place, so in that chemical reactions, the atoms are the smallest unit that are taking part in the chemical reaction. Okay, atoms are taking part in the chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is taking place, so their atoms are taking, there is the rearrangement of the atoms is taking place there. That is the chemical reaction. Chemical reaction means the rearrangement of the atoms. Suppose you are just, these two things are combining, so their atoms of this one element and atoms of this one elements are combining and rearranging, separating. So that is the chemical reaction. Okay, so atom is the smallest unit that take part in a chemical reaction. Fifth one, atoms of two or more same kind of atoms of two or more same kind of atoms or different kind of atoms combine to form compound. Let's say suppose you have same kind of atoms, they are combining. Then you have different kind of, let's say you have the atoms of iron, atoms of gold, then again they are combining. Here you have the atoms of gold and atoms of gold, they are again combining. So when the atoms are combining together, so they are forming what? They are forming compound atoms. Now we are calling them as molecules. Now we are calling them molecules, but previously they were called as the compound atom. Compound atom is when the atoms of same element and the atoms of the different elements are combining, so they are making what? They are making the compound atoms. Means compound atom means also known as the molecules now. Okay, molecule means when atoms are joining, smallest unit is atom, so atoms are joining, they are forming molecule. Molecules are joining, they are forming the bigger compounds, isn't it? So when the atoms of same kind and the different kind are joining together, so they are forming the compound atom. And the next postulate is atoms can neither be created nor they can be destroyed. That you have to remember. You are not creating any atom in a chemical reaction. Neither you are creating any element nor you are just destroying any atom there. Suppose a chemical reaction is taking place, so there would be the rearrangement of the atoms. Atoms of this one element, atoms of this one element are combining and forming something other. Only that much is happening here. Means any new atom is not being created here. Any atom also is not being destroyed here. Okay, that is why it is said here that atoms can neither be created nor destroyed. And the last one is, if any chemical reaction is taking place, there is only combination, separation and rearrangement of atoms, that I have already discussed. Okay, any chemical reaction is taking place. What does it mean? It means there would be the combination of the atoms, separation of the atoms and the rearrangement of the atoms of this one and atoms of this one are just combining, so there will be some rearrangement type of atoms, so again they are forming a new compound there, isn't it? So this is the chemical reaction. So if any chemical reaction is taking place, so there is nothing, there is the combination, separation and rearrangement of the atoms is taking place there, isn't it? So these are some postulates which the Dalton proposed. Okay, so do it, write it down. Then after that we will be discussing the drawbacks of the Dalton theory. Okay, what are the drawbacks of the Dalton theory, that we will be discussing in the upcoming lectures. Till then, stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you, have a good day.